Okay, we're gonna be continuing with division in this video. In the last video, we were dividing and we had remainders, but this time we're gonna be dividing decimals by whole numbers. So we're not gonna be using remainders anymore. We're gonna be continuing until we get a decimal answer. So once again, today's lesson is chapter 3, lesson 7, divide decimals by whole numbers. The objective is going to be students will be able to divide decimals by whole numbers. We're still focusing our essential questions for the chapter, which is how can estimating be helpful? And more specifically for this lesson, how can estimating quotients help you place the decimal correctly? So quotients, again, it means the answer to a division problem. Okay, so we're going to jump right in it. Based on our last video, remember I told you that the first number is always going to go on the inside. So our first number, 6.8, is always going to go on the inside. So I'm going to put 6.8 right there. And then I'm going to put 2 on the outside. So before you do anything, I want to make sure you realize something. Before you start dividing, you have the decimal right there. Place it exactly above it. Always put your decimal first before you start dividing. Okay, now you just divide. How many times does 2 go into 6? It goes 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract. That gives you 0. Bring down the 8. How many times does 2 go into 8? 4 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. 0. There's nothing to bring down, so it terminates. So that's it. Your answer is 3 and 4 tenths. So pretty easy, just dividing. All we have to do is remember that the first number always goes on the inside of the little house. First number goes on the inside, so that's 7.7, sorry. And 14 goes on the outside. Now, you also have to remember that before I start doing anything, if I have my decimal here, I'm gonna place my decimal there. Just bring it up. That's all you have to do. 14 does not go into 7. It goes 0 times. So we're gonna bring down the 7. How many times does 14 go into 77? Remember, we could do our little trick. That's about 7 times, because we take away 1, we take away 1. 1 goes into 7 about 7 times, but since it's 14, I'm just gonna use 6 to see where it gets me. And that's too much. So that means I'm just going to use 5. I'm sorry, that's 20. So I should carry the 2. So that's 70. So I'm going to use 5, and that gives me 70. Now I'm going to subtract. There's nothing to bring down. So since I have a decimal, I have to keep on going. We don't have remainder when we're doing decimals. So you're just gonna add a 0 and bring it down. And you keep on going until it terminates. And then look, 70, we already did that. So it's gonna be 5 again. Subtract. Now, I got a 0. There's nothing to bring down. So when you have a 0 and there's nothing to bring down, it terminates, so that is your answer. We have 55 hundredths. So keep on going until you terminate. That's basically the trick for this lesson. First number goes on the inside. So we have 8.69. And 22 goes on the outside. Before you do anything, make sure you put the decimal in its position. 22 does not go into 8, so that's gonna be 0 times. So that's 8 and bring down 6. If you ignore the 2 and the 6, 2 goes into 8 about 4 times. So you could try that, times 4. That's gonna give it 88. That means you went over by a little bit. So then obviously we have to use 3. So we're gonna use 3. That gives you 66. And that's 0. And then we could bring down the 9. So let's ignore and ignore. 2 goes into 20 about 10 times, but it's a little more than 20, so we're gonna try 9. So let's do 9, see what happens. That's 18, carry the 1, 18, 19. So that's 198. We're gonna subtract, that's 1. You're gonna borrow, 10 minus 9 is 1. And then we didn't terminate. We didn't end with 0, so we have to add a 0 and bring it down. That gives you 110. So we could try, let's try 5. So 22 times 5 gives you 10, carry the 1, 11, and look, perfect. So we're gonna put a 5. That gives you 110, which means you get 0, nothing to bring down, so it terminates. And since it terminates, your answer is 0 and 395 thousandths. So basically that's the trick, keep on going until you terminate. Once you terminate, right here, you terminated, you terminated, you terminated. Once you terminate, that means you can stop. If you haven't terminated, you have to keep on bringing more zeros down. Okay, next one. 3.49 goes on the inside. We have 4 on the outside. Remember that your decimal point must be lined up. 4 doesn't go into 3, so we're putting 0. That's 3, bring down the 4. 4 goes into 34 8 times. That's gonna be 28. I'm sorry, no, sorry. That's gonna be 32, sorry. 32. That's 2, 0. We're gonna bring down the 9. It goes 7 times. That's gonna be 28. Subtract. We have 1 and 0. So that means I didn't terminate, so I have to add a 0. 10, it goes 2 times. That's 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. I still haven't terminated, so I'm gonna put another 0. Keep on putting zeros until you end. Now 4 goes into 20 5 times, exactly. So that's where I terminated. I have finished. There's nothing to bring down, so I have terminated. So your answer is 8,725 10,000ths is your answer. So keep on going until you terminate. Okay, next number we have 55 and 800ths divided by 17. Make sure my decimals lined up. Let's see, if we ignore that and that, we have 1 and 5. 1 and 5. It goes about 5 times, but as you can see, it's a little closer to 20. So I'm gonna try 1 lower. So I'm gonna try 4 just to see where it gets me. Yep, I went too far. So next one I'm gonna try is 3. That's 21, 2, 51. So that's really close. So I'm gonna use 3. So it's 51. That's 4, 0, bring down a 0. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use 2, because look, 3 was already 51. So 17 times 2 gives you 34. Don't forget to put the 2. I forgot there. So sometimes it happens. So you gotta make sure you put the number up. Okay, borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. Bring down the 8. Oh, look, we have it right here. So it went 4 times. And it gives you 68, and it terminates. There's nothing to bring down. It has terminated. So your answer is 3 and 24 hundredths. Okay.